Square root expressions with the same radicand are like radicals. Like radicals can be combined by adding or subtracting the numbers multiplied by the radical and keeping the radical the same. For example, 3 root 7 and 8 root 7 have the same radicand. Therefore, we can add the two coefficients, 3 and 8, and get 11 root 7, keeping the same radical. Let's simplify this expression by combining like radicals. Notice that these two terms have the same radicand, 5y. Therefore, we can combine their coefficients, which are 1 and 7, to get 8 root 5y. Since there are no more like radicals, we simply bring down the remaining term, and this is the expression in simplest form. How about this expression? At first, they might seem like they cannot be combined because they have different radicands. However, we should first simplify each one by factoring using perfect squares. 12 has a perfect square factor of 4, so we can rewrite it as 4 times 3. Using the product property, we can separate each factor and simplify the square root of 4 to 2. Similarly, square root of 27 also has a perfect square factor of 9. We can rewrite it as 9 times 3. Separate the two factors and take the square root of 9 to get 3. Now we have 2 root 3 plus 3 root 3, which are like radicals. Combining their coefficients, we get 5 root 3. Here's another example. First, simplify each radical using perfect square factors. The greatest perfect square factor of 32 is 16, so we can rewrite it as 16 times 2. Using the product property, separate each factor and take the square root of 16 to get 4. Multiplying the two numbers in front of the root, we get 8 root 2. The square root of 50 also has a perfect square factor of 25, so we can rewrite it as 25 times 2. Separating the factors and taking the square root of 25 gives us 5 root 2. Now we can combine the two like radicals, which gives us 13 root 2. Here's one last example. Simplify each radical using perfect square factors. For 125, the perfect square factor is 25, so rewrite it as 25 times 5m. We separate the factors and take the square root of 25 to get 5. Multiplying the two numbers in front of the root, we get 10 root 5m. Next, 98 has a perfect square factor of 49, so rewrite it as 49 times 2m. Separating them and taking the square root of 49 gives us 7 root 2m. Notice that the first two terms have different radicands. Moving on to the third term, 20m can be rewritten as 4 times 5m. Separating the factors and taking the square root of 4 gives us 2. Then multiply 3 by 2 to get 6 root 5m. Now that we have simplified each radical, we can check whether there are like radicals to be combined. The first and the third terms have the same radical, so we can combine them. Subtracting 10 by 6, we get 4 root 5m. Then bring down minus 7 root 2m. This is the expression in simplest form.